So this is regarding the side sills on the NC. As you can see, this is the passenger side one removed, and down here we have the actual trims. Not bothered about scratching them because they're going to get resprayed. This is the driver's side, which, as you can see, has got no damage other than dirt and is fine inside. Managed to get that off without breaking a single clip or connection, which is quite amazing in itself. That one away. But the passenger side here are the connections. This is the rear arch. Obviously I've taken out the inner wheel arches and things to do some stuff. There's a couple of holes there that you can access. That one accesses the inner sill, and this one accesses the outer sort of sill channel, if you like. If you were to look in there with the boroscope or even with the torch, you'd see underneath the very first one of these lower clips, and they're dotted all the way along. Likewise, there are these other clips which are dotted all the way along, and then there's a couple of slightly different ones. These all come, or you can get, in a kit which I think is for a Mazda 3 but also fits the NC, which is this kit from vehicleclips.co.uk. So these are the ones which kind of slot, sorry about that, which slot into there and push along like so. And these ones are the ones which go into here and snap on, and they are all the way along, as you can see, and they tie in with these. So it's kind of, that's why when you remove these sills, there are two clips that you need to get out, which is these. There is one of those which pops in the end here, and there's one which pops, you can see that little hole right at the very end, just there. Once you get those two out, you're then free to, from this end, from the front end, get a towel on the end of it or something like that if you want to protect it, and a rubber mallet, and give it some nice firm wedges until the whole thing just slides enough for those clips to come clear. The same with these in the bottom, those larger ones, so they just come from this distance to here, and then obviously it all drops out. When I got this one off the passenger side, I got a bit of damage where somebody's obviously scraped, prior owner. It had sort of done a little bit of damage here, scraped all the way along. This piece was almost hanging off, should look like that, but this piece was quite loose, and these parts, which I've yet to finish tidying up, a bit of filling and priming, ready for paint, but I fixed them all with plastic welding. Likewise, on the inside, you can see there, done a bit on there, and this clip here, it's basically cracked loose along the bottom edges, so I've plastic welded that back together, and that's really firm and strong now. It's done a cracking job, so well pleased with that. Saved even having to consider looking at getting a new sill piece. So In the next video, which follows on from this, I'll show you some of the plastic welding. Okay. Here's one of the clips that had come away. This had sort of broken along, or snapped along these two little sides here, side supports. Thought it might not be fixable, but then obviously saw this plastic welding video, and hey and behold, it's now nice and solid. So the way you can do that is, I'm just going to drop this down here a little bit, show you on this one. Okay, this isn't broken, but I'm just going to use it as a test case. So what you need is a piece of plastic that is the same type of plastic as what your item is made of. So there's normally some sort of code printed somewhere on the back of the plastic, PP or something similar. So I got this spare bit off a cracked bumper, cracked grill, which I've now replaced with a new one. So I got this spare piece, which you can see I've used quite extensively. And what you can do is just get your soldering iron on a low setting, and say you wanted to bridge that gap there, you can literally just gently push it in against both and kind of melt the two back together just by nudging and pushing the plastic like so, and then let it set. That's one way. If you want to strengthen it even further, you can do a bit like you do with welding rod, melt more from another piece, he says, till it drops off, and then blend it all together. That's another way, and I'll show you later where I've done that on the front side, because you can obviously play around with this to your heart's content. You can weaken it if you keep faffing around with it too long, but if you just do what I've done there, that'll make for a good strong joint. If you want an even stronger joint, if you've got, say, if you imagine there was a crack across here on this piece, as well as doing this, what you can do is fashion something like this from a literally from a paper clip. You can put it across the join. If you imagine there was a crack across there, put it across the join and literally heat the paper clip up until it melts its way into the plastic, sinks down, and then once it's sunk down enough and settled in there, if it's going to be a visible side, you can then play around with a little bit more of this, smooth it all over, and as I'm going to do on some of the outward facing bits, I'll obviously sand, fill and prime it as you would normally. In fact, I'll just try and show you that bit. That was a piece which I've not quite finished, but you can see it was all cracked round, so I've now fixed it. It's nice and good solid fixing, and I'm just going to do a bit more sanding and filling on that, smooth it all off when the rest of this gouge gets filled, and prep for paint. But you'll never know it was cracked once it's done, and it's a nice, good, solid, strong fixing. So great technique. I've used it on no end of bits and pieces, such as this was a piece. It's the one for the oil filter inspection hatch, but a couple of the corners are cracked and a bit distorted, so I've just excuse me, it's a little bit rough and ready, but it works and it's a nice good solid fixing, so when that gets bolted on from underneath, you know, it's as with that one, it's not going anywhere. So yeah, plastic welding, brilliant.